Hello, Falcons fans! Welcome back to your go-to spot for the latest Atlanta Falcons news, updates, and analysis. If you're as passionate about this team as we are, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Let's grow this amazing Falcons community together. Your support means everything to us. Now let's jump into today's exciting story. The Atlanta Falcons made a surprising move on Thursday by signing veteran wide receiver and Pro Bowl return specialist Jane Grant to their practice squad. If his name rings a bell, it's because Grant, now 32, made waves during his time with the Miami Dolphins before being traded to the Chicago Bears in 2021. Grant's explosive talent as a return specialist earned him a Pro Bowl selection that same year. Unfortunately, injuries like Achilles and knee issues have kept him off the field for the past 2 seasons. Throughout his career, Grant has been a game changer on special teams. Check out these stats: 119 punt returns for 1,228 yards and 4 touchdowns, 110 kick returns for 2,699 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 100 receptions for 1,140 yards, and 7 touchdowns. With numbers like these, it's clear that Grant has the skills to turn the tide in any game. But this signing does raise eyebrows. It's the 3rd time this season the Falcons have brought him in, only to let him go soon after. Will this time be different? Only time will tell if this move sticks. In other roster updates, the Falcons also signed former Packers safety Beanie Sapp III to the practice squad. While Sapp isn't as well known as Grant, he could provide much needed depth, especially as the team faces the critical final stretch of the season. Now, let's dive into the latest buzz surrounding head coach Raheem Morris and the growing concerns about his leadership as the Falcons push to stay in the playoff hunt. Morris's recent comments about Kirk Cousins and the quarterback situation have sparked a lot of debate among fans and analysts. Is he losing his cool, or is there a deeper reason behind his words? Let's break it down. Raheem Morris, now in his 2nd season as head coach of the Falcons, has been a somewhat controversial figure. While the team has shown flashes of greatness, like that exciting win over the Eagles earlier this season, there's also been noticeable inconsistency. This inconsistency shows up in areas like penalties, in-game decision-making, and perhaps most notably, the quarterback situation. Recently, Morris praised Kirk Cousins for improving between the Chargers and Vikings games, highlighting Cousins' impressive nearly 350-yard performance. On the surface, that sounds positive, but let's take a closer look. For one, Cousins' yardage came mostly in garbage time, after the Falcons were already behind by a large margin. His 2 interceptions, while fewer than the 4 he threw the week before, are still a concern. Is this really the standard we should set for a 13-year veteran quarterback? This raises some serious questions. Kirk Cousins' performance isn't exactly the kind of improvement you'd hope for from someone leading your team. But here's where it gets even more confusing. Raheem Morris's praise for Cousins directly contradicts his own views on stats. After Kyle Pitts had a quiet game against the Saints, Morris dismissed the idea of worrying about stats, saying, "Stats are for losers. It's all about winning the game." But now, he's using stats to defend Cousins' performance. This flip-flopping has many wondering about the consistency of Morris's leadership. This isn't the first time Morris has faced criticism for his approach. During his time with the Buccaneers, he famously said, "Stats are for losers," after a 10-6 season, only for the team to collapse the following year, finishing 4-12. As a result, Morris was fired. It's no surprise that Falcons fans are worried about history repeating itself. The situation is even more complicated because of rookie quarterback Michael Penck Jr., whom the Falcons selected with the 8th overall pick in the draft. Despite Cousins' struggles, 8 interceptions and 0 touchdowns in the last 4 games, Morris has been hesitant to make a change. When asked about Penck, Morris acknowledged he's the team's future, but said he doesn't want to rush the rookie onto the field. "When it's time, it'll be time," Morris explained. "We've seen what happens when other teams put young quarterbacks in too early, and it goes terribly. I don't want to be that guy." While it's understandable to protect a young player's development, at what point does sticking with a struggling veteran do more harm than good? The Falcons are still in the playoff hunt, sitting at 6-7, but time is running out. Cousins needs to show major improvement, starting with Monday night's game against the Raiders. Otherwise, the calls to see what Penck can do will only get louder. Relying on beating weaker teams is another troubling trend. Outside of the win against the Eagles, the Falcons have struggled to compete with stronger teams. This inconsistency is similar to what happened during Morris's time with the Buccaneers, where a few unsustainable wins eventually led to a big collapse. Despite all this, Morris is still confident the team can turn things around. "I feel like Kirk's going to come out of this and go on a run," he said. While optimism is important, it's hard not to wonder if it's misplaced in this situation. Cousins is currently leading the league with 15 interceptions and has shown little sign of breaking out of his slump. Falcons fans, it's time to hear from you. What do you think about Raheem Morris's comments and his handling of the quarterback situation? Is it time to give Michael Penck Jr. a shot, or should the team stick with Cousins and hope for the best? And what about Morris himself? Is he the right person to lead this team forward, or are you starting to lose confidence in his vision? Let us know in the comments below. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Falcons quarterback situation. Head coach Raheem Morris has once again pledged his loyalty to Kirk Cousins, even though the team is in the middle of a 4-game losing streak. Cousins has been struggling, throwing 0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions during this stretch, leaving many fans confused. Meanwhile, rookie quarterback Michael Penck Jr., the 8th overall pick, is still sitting on the bench. Morris's reasoning is that he wants to protect Penck from being thrown into the fire too soon. "I've told you from the beginning, Penck is our future," Morris said. "We've all seen organizations that rush their rookie quarterbacks, and it hasn't worked out. I don't want to be that guy." It's a fair point, but at what cost? The Falcons' playoff hopes are fading, and the NFC South is now firmly in the hands of the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay has climbed to a 7-6 record, while the Falcons have fallen to 6-7. With only the division winner likely to make the playoffs, sticking with Cousins could end up being the Falcons' downfall. This decision to keep Cousins as the starter is even more questionable when you consider the Falcons' big investment in him this offseason. They signed the veteran quarterback to a $180 million deal, despite his recent Achilles injury. They also spent a top 10 draft pick on Michael Penck Jr. For a team that started the season 6-3 and looked like a lock for the division title, these recent decisions are hard to understand. Luckily, the Falcons now face a relatively easier schedule with games against the Raiders, Giants, Commanders, and Panthers to close out the season. But with Cousins at the helm, can we trust this team to turn things around? Meanwhile, Bucs fans are likely hoping Morris sticks with Cousins as long as he keeps struggling. The Buccaneers' path to a 4th straight NFC South title becomes clearer as Tampa Bay's road ahead features tougher matchups, like the Chargers and Cowboys. However, the door is still open for the Falcons if they can get things together. Now it's over to you, Falcons fans. Do you agree with Morris's decision to stick with Cousins, or is it time to give Penck a chance? Could the addition of Jay Grant provide the spark the team needs on special special teams? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Falcons updates. See you next time, and as always, rise up.